So pleased to have Nancy Cahalen, the Better Business Bureau, join us right now and talk to us a little bit about a scam alert that is going on out there. And it involves Siri and Alexa and Google, all your trusted friends. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, if you can't count on them, who can you count on, right, Hank?
That's right. They run the household now.
They do. And, they've really changed the way people look for information online. And while there are many benefits, there are some drawbacks to them, too. So that's what we're going to talk about today. You can tell Alexa to play your favorite song or ask Siri what the weather is going to be, and Google can turn down the air conditioner or turn up the heat. But don't ask your smart device to look up a phone number because it could accidentally point you to a scam. So we're not saying they are scamming you, but they're being used by the scammers. So how does it work? So you need a phone number for a company. You ask your smart device to dial it for you. But when the company's representative answers, you start to notice some red flags. So what have we talked about that? Trust your gut. If you're seeing these red flags, act on that. The representative might insist they can only help you if you make payment with a wire transfer or prepaid debit cards. Hang up. No legitimate business is going to ask for those type of payment methods. And other times, they're going to demand remote access to your computer. Or point you to a scam website. Again, these are huge red flags, and we should abandon ship, hang up, and look up that number and call it ourselves. We got a recent scam tracker report that goes like this. So they said, I used Siri to look up the United Airlines customer service line. Somehow, the call was connected to a different company. The agent pretended to be a United Airlines agent and said he could help me cancel my flight. The fee was $125. I was convinced it was United Airlines, but the next day I realized my mistake, and they said they wouldn't refund my money. Only after I threatened to call the police did they say they would, but I'm still waiting for the refund. So this is a common scam for airlines that different numbers they have set up that charge you fees for everything. It's not, that's not how they do business. They do charge a lot of fees, but not for these types of things. Yeah. And another version, the consumer tried to use voice search to contact Roku with a question about setting up their device. And instead, someone pretending to represent Roku charged them an $80 activation fee for a service that doesn't even exist. So there are all kinds of cons with your smart TVs. It's just something that we really need to be aware of now.
Wow. I mean, that's something, too. I'm going to hit you with an activation fee. Well, an activation fee, that's something that I've heard of, and it makes sense. This is something that I know that I say to you every week, but they are just so good at it. If you haven't had sort of these red flags, or if you haven't been listening to Nancy Cahalen, so that you have this mindset of, let me just make sure that everything is sounding the way that it should sound. I just want to make sure that, is there something that they've said that makes me go, am I really talking to Roku? Would Roku really say this? Is this really the way that they would conduct business? So what they do with these scams, right, is there's somebody that I now have been fooled into thinking is a legit representative of that business.
Absolutely. You ask your smart device to connect you, and so you don't even know what number they dialed. They just dialed a number. And someone answered, and they say that they're a representative of the business, and you go from there. So stop and don't use the smart device to dial the numbers. You want to use your smartphone, say, call mom. That's one thing. But to tell Alexa or Siri to call United Airlines, the algorithm could be off. They might connect you with the wrong company. It could be a scammer. You just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, or if it's the cable company or something, right? I mean, you got your bill. Make sure that you're giving them, that the right place a call is as well. You've told us though in the past, Nancy, about these scammers are pretty good. Like one of the versions, of course, was that they would put things up on Facebook and all of these fake ads. So I've got to be careful in two things. First, Siri, don't call that number for me. I'm gonna look it up. But then I've got to make sure that the company, everything that we've talked about in the past, I've got to make sure that the company that I'm looking up is legit. Did everybody just hear Siri answer me? my phone just went off because Siri's listening in and going, "What do you mean? Don't call that number."
Yeah, that's another thing, beware of the fake ads because these scammers have access to all the advertising tools, marketing tools that legitimate businesses do. So, they're going to create bad ads and direct people to their phony websites or helplines. So go straight to the source. So if you need to get in touch with Amazon, use the Amazon mobile app or their website, and go directly that way. Same thing with any of the other companies you may need to reach. And if you are making a payment for something, make it with your credit card. We've said this many times. It's so much easier to dispute a credit card payment. Wire transfers or prepaid debit cards, it's just like you're handing them cash. It's not traceable, and you cannot reverse it. So there's almost nothing you can do to get your money back when you pay with one of those methods. Use your credit card. And don't forget, these voice assistants are listening. And I didn't even tell Hank to have Siri chime in at that point, but they're listening. And, read up on this device that you have. They listen and they record. You need to check your privacy policy on these voice assistants and lock down your login just to make sure that no one else can access it, and then they have access to everything you've connected it to. So that's something. Learn more about your smart device.
Absolutely.
Because you let it take over your household.
Right, because it's just magic to me. I'm just shouting stuff out. I had one on my phone the other day where I sent somebody. Thank goodness I didn't say anything, but I had texted somebody, and then somehow I had activated something so that it also then. They were able to get 2 minutes of my just kind of putzing about in the kitchen, and somehow. I don't know, it decided to send them that because it thought that I was recording something for them. So, sometimes, and I hate to say it, maybe because I'm just getting a little bit older, I don't know how this thing really, really works. I figure my kids do, but for me, it would probably be useful to read up on some of these things a little bit.
Yeah, know how it works. It's really interesting, and it might scare you a little. I checked into a hotel a few years ago, and there was an Echo Dot in the room. And I'm like, who would want that in a hotel room listening, So I unplugged it. But, you could tell it to your breakfast menu, but it's listening to everything else you're saying too. So I thought it was a little creepy, and I unplugged it. So just know that it's always listening, and unless you use the right settings, and just make sure you understand how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the other rules that we always talk about are in play as well. I have, two-factor authentication. I think most people probably do now, but I have that on everything now. I don't just get connected to some things automatically. I have to jump on and verify and things just to try and keep a little bit of a level of protection out there for me and to make sure people aren't stealing my information.
Yeah, you have to. And that two-factor authentication, you can't take a step now without using that or, signing up for it. So they've been suggesting it for years, and now it seems like everybody's cracking down. So, it's really for the best. Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Nancy Cahalen, President, CEO, Better Business Bureau, serving Central and Western Massachusetts and Northeastern Connecticut. Make sure that you check out any of our past episodes over at RadioWorcester.com. Hey, shout out to the gang. If you are listening to us in Fitchburg, Leominster area, we appreciate the good folks up there for letting us play the show for them there too, because everybody needs to be protected. Nancy, thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, we have more to come. It is the talk of the Commonwealth on the Radio Worcester Network.